So today's topic is membrane potentials and action potential. So electrical potential exists across membranes of almost all the cells of our body, which is very important for our cellular functions, and especially in excitable tissues like nerves and muscles. It is very important to transmit the signals along the membrane. So this potential is actually a difference between inside and outside of the cell, the difference of the electrostatic potential. And the reason of this potential is unequal distribution of the ions across the membrane as well as unequal permeability of the membrane to these ions. This is the definition of action potential. The electrical charge occurring across the membrane of the nerve fiber or the muscle fiber, which leads to transmission of the nerve signal or definite contraction, is called action potential. So this is an electrical discharge, and it can be created by many cells but mostly by nervous system. Action potential is the tool to communicate between two neurons as well as for transmitting the signals from neurons to muscles and glands. This is a diagrammatic presentation of action potential. You can see there are various stages starting from resting state to undershoot. We will discuss one by one. So resting stage is also called polarized stage. The resting membrane potential is normally minus 90 millivolt, and it is mostly due to presence of large amount of the negative ions inside the cells. Then during the depolarization, the membrane will suddenly becomes permeable to positive ions, mainly sodium ions. So normal polarized stage will be lost, potential will increase in the positive direction, and sometimes it may reach up to plus 35 millivolt, which is called overshoot. Then comes the repolarization. Within few seconds after that, there will be opening of the potassium channels, and there will be rapid influx of the potassium ions, and due to which the resting membrane potential is achieved, and this is called repolarization. Sometimes even after reaching the baseline level, the potential will further become negative. This small but prolonged increase in the negativity is called hyperpolarization. So let us discuss how this resting membrane potential of minus 90 millivolt is achieved. So it is mainly contributed by potassium ion diffusion. It is also contributed by sodium ion diffusion as well as sodium potassium pump. So before starting the discussion, we must understand about this equation, which is called Nernst equation. So according to this equation, the electromotive force is equal to plus or minus 61 logarithm of concentration of the ion inside and concentration of the ion outside. And sign of the positive or negative depends upon the type of the ion entering or exit. So this is an example of potassium diffusion and its contribution. So you can see the result is minus 94 millivolt. So if membrane is only permeable to potassium, then the resting membrane potential will be equal to minus 94 millivolt, and this is equilibrium potential for potassium. This is a potassium channel. You can see the potassium is coming out through this channel and achieving an equilibrium, which is called equilibrium potential. Similarly, for sodium diffusion, if we calculate, it will be equal to plus 61 millivolt. Now these both sodium and potassium both values together will contribute, and it will lead to minus 86 millivolt of resting membrane potential. Now this is the equation which we should use if more than one ion is diffusing through the membrane. So more or less it is similar to Nernst equation, but here the permeability is also taken into consideration. So P is for permeability, and mainly the sodium, potassium and chloride ions are contributing towards resting membrane potential. So this is Goldman-Hodgkin's Katz's formula. Now there is a little contribution of sodium potassium pump towards the resting membrane potential. It is minus 4 millivolt contribution. So our total membrane potential will be equal to minus 86 and minus 4, so it will be equal to minus 90 millivolt. This is the sodium potassium pump which we have already discussed in transport across the cell membrane lecture. We all know the coupling ratio is 3:2, so there is net loss of one positive ions and it will lead to negativity inside the cell. Then comes the second stage of depolarization, in which voltage gated sodium channel will come into action. Now these channels have two type of gates, activation gate and inactivation gate. So during the resting stage, this activation gate is closed, so sodium cannot come inside. But when membrane potential will increase from minus 90 to minus 70, then there will be some changes, conformational changes. So this activation gate will be open, sodium will enter inside the cell and it will increase the permeability for sodium 5000 fold. So all the sodium will come inside. Then when potassium will reach to positive level, then the inactivation gates will be closed. And these inactivation gates are situated on inside aspect of the cell membrane and they will not reopen until the membrane potential will come back to original resting level. This is the diagram. You can see activation gate and inactivation gate. This is for potassium, this is activation gate of sodium, this is inactivation gate of sodium channel. In potassium channel only one gate is there situated on inside. When both gates are open, then and then ions can pass. So you can see in sodium during the resting stage gate is closed, during activated stage both the gates are open, and during inactivated stage the inactivated gates are closed. Now in potassium there is only one gate, so during resting stage it is closed. Now it will be activated during just when the sodium channels are about to close, potassium channels will start opening. Let us discuss it in the repolarization. This is a sodium channel and potassium channel diagram. Now comes the repolarization stage. So it is due to activation of voltage gated potassium channels, and during this stage means resting stage, the potassium channels gates are closed. When membrane potential will increase from minus 90 towards 0, then there will be slow opening of this gate and there will be increased diffusion of potassium ions outside. And this opening is very slow, so they open just at the time when sodium channels are about to close. So there are two reasons for repolarization: closure of the sodium channels and opening of the potassium channels, which result in potassium outflux. Now you can see here sodium channels are closed and potassium channels are open, so potassium will go out and it will create negativity and resting membrane potential will be achieved. Sometimes after repolarization is complete, there will be hyperpolarization. So many potassium channels will remain open even after repolarization is over. So more potassium ion will diffuse outside and it will create negativity inside. This further negativity will lead to hyperpolarization stage of action potential. Now let us discuss properties of action potential. First property is all or none law. So action potential will always follow all or none phenomenon. It means with sub-threshold stimulus or sub-minimal stimulus, action potential will not develop at all. And with threshold or minimal stimulus, it will develop fully. So either it will not develop at all or it will develop fully. And then any further increase in the intensity of the stimulus will not change the amplitude of action potential. So once it develops at any stage, it will also travel all over the membrane or it will not travel at all. So this whole phenomenon is called all or none phenomenon. Second property of action potential is threshold stimulus. So when minimal or threshold current is applied for adequate time, then and then it will produce the response in the form of action potential. And this minimum strength of the current is called Rho base. When we apply the current double than the Rho base, then the time which is taken to produce a response is called Cronach C. So these two terms, Rho base and Cronach C, are very important in excitable tissues. Third property is refractory period. A new action potential cannot occur in an excitable fiber as long as the membrane is still depolarized from preceding action potential. So this is a period which is called refractory period. Now what is the reason? So reason is that shortly after the action potential is initiated, the sodium channels will become inactivated. So any amount of the excitatory signals which is applied to these channels will not open the gate. So we will not get the second response. Now only condition that will reopen them is when membrane potential will reach back to normal. Now in refractory period there are two types, absolute and relative. Absolute refractory period is the period during which second action potential cannot be elicited even with very strong stimulus. This period is approximately 1 divided by 2500 second in a large myelinated nerve fiber, and it begins from the firing level until the repolarization is 1/3 completed. Second is relative refractory period. So it is the time period when stronger than the normal stimuli can excite the nerve fiber. Now what is the cause of refractory period? During this period, some of the sodium channels are not reversed from inactivation state, and potassium channels are widely open. So it will lead to hyperpolarization. So it is very difficult to stimulate the fiber in hyperpolarization. Now how action potential travels, how it propagates. So it is when it is elicited at any one point on the membrane, it will travel the full length that we have seen in all or none phenomenon, and this traveling is due to local circuit of the current flow. Now this positive charge which is created due to entry of the sodium ions, it will increase the voltage up to distance of 1 millimeter to 3 millimeter above the threshold value. And then these newly areas which causes the local circuits of current flow still further along the membrane, and more depolarization is spread. Let us see it in the diagram. So here you can see in the first diagram the membrane is in resting stage. In the diagram B, few positive ions are entering and creating the depolarization. In the diagram C and D, you can see how the depolarization spreads on both the directions. So in this way, the action potential propagates along the surface of the nerve membrane. Now in some tissues, in action potential diagram, plateau will be seen. So potential remains on a plateau phase near the peak of the spike for few milliseconds, and then repolarization will start. It is especially visible in cardiac muscle, in heart, and due to plateau there will be increase in the period of depolarization. Now what is the reason of plateau? So in cardiac channels during the depolarization, two types of channels will come into action. One is fast voltage gated sodium channels and another is slow voltage gated calcium channels. In heart, the potassium channels are also very slow to open, so they will not open until the very end of plateau. So due to this delay in the return of the membrane potential towards the resting stage, plateau is seen. See in the diagram what is called plateau. So in cardiac muscle, this type of action potential is seen. Now in propagation of the action potential, there are two type of nerve fibers, myelinated and unmyelinated. Now in myelinated nerve fiber, a myelin sheath is seen and it is deposited around the axons by the Schwann cells. So in myelinated nerve fibers, a special type of conduction is seen in the action potential, which is called saltatory conduction. If we see the myelinated nerve fibers, between the two successive Schwann cells, there will be a small area which is not myelinated. It is called nodes of Ranvier. And myelin sheath will act as an insulator. So ion flow can occur only at nodes of Ranvier. And action potential can occur only at nodes of Ranvier. So action potential can be conducted from one node of Ranvier to another node of Ranvier. And impulse will jump from one node of Ranvier to another node of Ranvier. And it is called saltatory conduction. See in this diagram, the impulse is actually jumping from one node of Ranvier to another node of Ranvier. So in this way, the action potential travels in myelinated nerve fiber. How it helps? What is the significance of saltatory conduction? So it will increase the velocity of the conduction and it will also conserve the energy, because now ATP requirement will be less, because sodium potassium pump requirement will be less. So it will save the time and it will save energy as well. Again another diagram showing nodes of Ranvier and myelin sheath. See how it looks like: myelin sheath, Schwann cells and underlying axon and node of the Ranvier. Now how to record the action potential? So action potential can be recorded by an instrument which is called cathode ray oscilloscope. This is the instrument named cathode ray oscilloscope. There are three types of recording possible in action potential. What we have discussed so far is called monophasic type of action potential, in which we will see resting stage, depolarization stage and repolarization stage. Then sometimes biphasic type of recording can be done and compound action potential recording can be done. This is monophasic type of action potential. So you can see one electrode is inserted inside the nerve fiber and another electrode is placed on the surface of the nerve, and both the electrodes are connected to a voltmeter, and we can see depolarization and repolarization type of response. So this is a typical classical monophasic action potential. Now this is a biphasic action potential. Here both the electrodes will be placed on the surface of the nerve and then action potential is recorded. So we can see there are two waves seen here. This is the first wave and this is second wave. So this is called biphasic type of action potential. Third one is the compound action potential. So in a mixed nerve fiber having various type of nerve fibers, a large nerve, so in which individual fiber is having different type of action potentials. So we can see multiple peaks here. So together this diagram is called compound action potential. So this is all about membrane potentials and action potential. Thank you.